Hello, I'm Bethany Johnson, and this recording is a part of the Woodburn School District Calming Zoom series. This is actually our final Calming Zoom in our series. We recorded a couple a week throughout the school year, and this is our final one. So presentation mode wasn't working a second ago, so we're going to adapt. But our focus today is really going to be on breath work, talking about some tools, some practice, as well as some resources. So I am going to do a little bit more talking and a little bit less practice than I'm used to doing, because my hope is that you really take what you may have learned from following these recordings throughout the past couple of months and find ways to apply it and perhaps further learning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So we are going to take a little bit of time. It's not meditation. It's actually going to be doing just a couple of breathwork practices and some self-check, but especially some tools. Let me introduce myself. I'm Bethany Johnson, and I am delighted to have had the opportunity to teach these breathwork courses this semester, this year. I am a certified health coach. I also come from the education background, so care deeply for teachers and am really excited to hand some tools of some of what I have done some learning about. I'm going to talk quite a bit about that today, kind of where this learning came from for me and ways that I might recommend that you continue to add to that experience. Part of why I care so deeply about things like calming practices, meditation, breath work, is that I really care about whole health. I am a health coach, and so I work with people who are feeling stuck in their physical, emotional, financial, spiritual health, and have the opportunity to really partner with others to find whole health and whole focus.
Sorry, I can only call one person at a time. Who do you want to call?
Sorry, my Siri was.
It's all good.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I think we're back to normal. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I care deeply about others and have found in my journey to health that really focusing on my response to stress in my life, or the stressors in my life, and the way I process the stress, quite a few of these tools have really helped me. So I hope that throughout this entire playlist, you have found some tools that are helpful to you, but I'm going to share some specific kind of further reading for you there. So before, let's see. Let me point to you just a couple of basics. So in this playlist, this course, throughout this entire playlist, we've done some with meditation and some with breath work. Or breathing. My introduction to breathing really came from I really enjoy doing yoga as part of one of my healthy practices and healthy habits. And integrated into that is really this process of focusing your physical body and your attention on your breath. And so that is part of where I have found a lot of benefit to doing breath work. Some of the breathing practices that we have done over the course of this time have come directly from some of my yoga practices. Some of them have come from online resources, but that is really where that started for me. So when we talk about breath work, I wanted to share this article with you to kind of help create a framework here. So breath work is really focusing on the intentional, systematic practice of calming stress and bringing balance to your body. So this is an article called Breath Work, What is it and why does it work? This is from webmd.com, what is breath work? And so the real foundation is understanding that it's going to help remove those toxins and the stresses when you breathe out, and that it nourishes your mind and your body when you breathe in. So there is lots of different research around breath work and the benefits that it has. We have found that it really benefits your physical health. It can adjust your blood's pH, anti-inflammatory effects, elevating your mood. It could also have a positive impact on your central nervous system. If you're feeling stress, your breath tends to become fast and shallow. And kind of think of it as kind of up in your throat or up high. It really limits how much oxygen is entering your bloodstream, and it really moves us into that fight or flight. Sorry, I don't know what is happening. There we go. Purposefully slowing down our breath is really kind of that number one thing before your brain can do anything else to help you. So there's lots of different breath work techniques. We have done quite a few of these in our practices together in this playlist. If you're unsure about what I'm talking about, you can go back to the playlist and take a look at some of the other breath work. Deep abdominal breathing we have done. That is where you're taking those long, deep breaths and you're focusing on filling up your belly and your chest so that it's really deep. Those deep breaths, that's probably the first thing. If you're not familiar with breath work, that's maybe the first thing that you've been exposed to, is hearing someone just take a deep breath. And it is an outstanding technique and strategy. There's also this technique that does kind of specific counting. So there's a 4-7-8 breath focus. That's like sort of counting the different beats or seconds that you're breathing in, holding your breath and breathing out. That long exhale is really helpful. We've done that several times throughout this time. We'll do a little bit of that together today too. The alternate nostril breathing is another technique we've done quite a few times, where you're plugging and releasing right and left nostril. That one can be really helpful. Breath of fire is that when you're exhaling, a full mouth exhale, that can be really helpful. And then heliotropic breath work is a little bit more specific. It's kind of where you're continuously inhaling and exhaling. And that one can be pretty intense, but has really outstanding positive impacts. But it's a little bit it's not quite as simple as some of the other ones, and you might be best to have an experienced instructor for that. So like we mentioned, here is a great list of the positive impacts of breath work. The physical health benefits are huge, helping to make time for deep sleep, balancing blood pressure, reducing PTSD, better immune system. So again, that specifically physical benefit of breath work is huge. We also see immense emotional benefits as well. Has an outstanding positive impact on our mental health. Depression, anxiety are reduced, mental focus, to decrease in addictive behavior, allowing healing, emotional healing, outlook, and contentment. One thing that can be a con of breath work is that it really can be kind of tricky. It almost feels claustrophobic to me sometimes. So there are some aspects that might kind of feel like hyperventilating or might actually be ventilating, or you might actually be hyperventilating. So if you have experience with these kind of things, irregular heartbeat or those sort of things, the focus of restricting or limiting the way that your body receives its oxygen might have kind of a tricky thing, especially if you're doing the more challenging techniques, starting with simple things like a deep breath. Can be simple enough, but most of these focuses are on the more advanced techniques. Breath work requires focus, so it can take some time and practice to develop it. For some people, doing a lot of breath work can be really challenging, depending on what your environment is like. If it is, if you don't have a space that's quiet, or you're limited in the amount of time that you're able to focus, that can be kind of a downside for you. Okay. I wanted to show you just a few more of some of this is redundant, but I really liked the visual examples of there's lots of different kinds of breath work. So this article comes from Healthline, and it is health breath work #uses. So really kind of talks about the types, and again, some redundancy from that previous article, but I really liked the visual that it has for this one. So here's some examples, some breathwork examples, that kind of diaphragmic breathing, really focusing on engaging your diaphragm, pursed lip breathing, where you're breathing like you're breathing through a straw, through pursed lips. Box breathing, that's something that we have done in our practices a couple of times. But this really focuses on the shape, and that focus of again, that sort of systematic time, kind of like the 4-7-8 method. Oh, well, here's the 4-7-8 method. But the box breathing is a cycle of slowly inhaling for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 4 seconds, and then holding your breath again. So that's where that box is. If you think about inhaling on one side of the box, exhaling. Oh, sorry. Inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding. That's what box breathing is. We've done that a couple of times in this playlist, but it's an especially helpful one. We've seen it do some really incredible things in terms of reducing stress. I also really like this illustration in this video because it really kind of shows it to you. I find sometimes when I'm doing breath work by myself, or even when I'm doing it here for you guys, it can be really tricky to breathe and talk at the same time or lose track of what I'm counting. This visual really helps with that. So you can just kind of watch the video and it will guide you through it. This one is the 4-7-8 breathing technique or breathing pattern, where the inhale is 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds, exhaling for 8 seconds. We're going to do this practice together here in a little minute, just so you have some opportunities to practice it. And I talked about this alternate nostril breathing is really, really helpful. I've done it several times in getting through this playlist. I have seen it done with a hand on one on each nostril, but there's lots of ways to go about doing it. And then really talking about all of these different types and clarity around breath work. Okay. All right, so we're gonna take a little break from my talking and move into the 4-7-8 breathing, and then we'll do a box breathing after that. But let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay. I'm going to give this one a second. It's going to start with our 4-second inhale, holding for 7 seconds and exhaling for 8 seconds. So right now it's sort of in the middle of its cycle. So I'm going to let it go through until it comes back around for our, you can just notice your breathing. Here's that exhale. Noticing your breathing. The really powerful part about any sort of counting inhale and exhale is the really noticing, especially the exhale. We tend to just and then be done with it. But there's some really awesome things about really making sure you're doing a full inhale and a full exhale. It's almost back around. Okay, you'll notice the ring is getting bigger in the exhale. We'll come back in a second. Again, this is the 4-7-8 pattern. Okay, now let's switch over and try the box breathing one really quickly. Okay, so we're gonna inhale. Ooh, sorry. Okay. All right, let's start it. And hold. Sorry guys, this video seems to be really glitchy, which makes a difference when we're trying to pay attention to the movement, and it's by seconds and it's making us hold a lot longer. Okay, I think because I'm sharing it, it is not running as smoothly as it ought to. I apologize. But you can absolutely go to this article. Of course, if you just search in YouTube, box breathing guided or breath work guided, there's of course a wealth of other guided videos that I would absolutely recommend to do some on your own. One other resource that I wanted to share is I read a book actually in preparation of starting to do this series. I got it from the library. It is Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art, and was it by James Nestor. It was a very, very fascinating book, both talking about the ancient history of breath work in other cultures, especially Asian cultures, but where we see it throughout history, as well as his specific experience with breath work and some of the new science that is sort of catching up with those ancient practices. So I found it especially fascinating and really, really helpful to really kind of dig into the processes of what breath work could mean, the different ways, all of the really fascinating things about the structure of our face and our nostrils and our mouth shapes, and the impact that the way that we breathe, nostril breathing, mouth breathing, etc. And it absolutely was a fabulous book. So if you're curious about breath work or breathing or the physiological benefits of focused breath work, I highly recommend this book. It was absolutely an enjoyable read as well. So also I read this book, Why We Sleep, and that's a great book as well. But specific to breath work, this is a resource that, again, if you're looking to add to your learning, absolutely highly recommend this. Okay. And then the last tool that I was just going to share with you is I found this blog entry on Collaborative Classroom, especially talking about breath work in teachers. So it's on Collaborative Classroom, teacher wellness, practice, breathe, keep breathing. But it has several really simple, straightforward, you'll notice this is the 4-7-8 practice, and maybe ways that you might practice it for yourself, as well as if you were a teacher in a classroom of almost any age level. I would recommend some teaching students and practicing yourself some breath work. I know there's so much out there. The last resource that I wanted to share with you, I know I've talked about it before in this series, but is this website resource you probably know about, but calm.com is a really amazing resource that has a lot of focus on mindfulness. I actually have a paid account as a teacher or in the school district. I receive a free, Sorry, it's not working right now. I receive a free account for the paid version for free. You could also just try it for free. It has a ton of different resources. Okay, let me get back to the home though. Nope, not this one, not this one. Goodness, sorry guys, my technology is just not really cooperating very well today. I apologize. Okay, I want to show you what Calm can offer. When I was a classroom teacher, this is one of the tools that I used. I taught fourth grade, and we would use this at the end of the day or after recess. I know as teachers, there are lots of different times when we need and want to equip our students to deregulate. And this tool is really, really helpful for that. Sorry, it is not. Let me try one more thing. Okay. Let me show you this resource. So this is what Calm looks like. It has a bunch of different resources available. If you're looking for meditation, it has lots of different guided meditations, series, and it just kind of talks you through the different aspects and really just guides you through different ways. One thing that I use, there's sleep stories, just having something on in the background in a calming way, music. The Calm Kids area was one that I used especially. So there's little sleep stories, some little characters, and all of it has lots of different guiding practices. All of these are showing that they're blocked because this one isn't actually my free account. This one is just the free account, but you can also, they have a mobile app. There's also guided movement that's available. So lots and lots of different resources. Awesome way to integrate in some of this breath work, some of this calming. Again, meditation is a big part of the tools available through this resource. So that is all I have for today. I know that we have some of us have spent some time practicing together. I hope that this series was a helpful one for you. I hope there are things in it that introduced you to other ways of finding opportunities for calm in your life and in your day. And I hope that you have some strength to finish the school year.